Hello everyone and welcome back to more of the Labyrinth of Grisaia. In the last episode, we learned the origin of JB's nickname and her past with Asako when they met in the orphanage, and now we're here after Asako adopted Yuuji from the hospital because he had nowhere else to go after they raided Heath Oslo's place. So yeah, this is the little cabin. Although calling it a home might be slightly misleading. To put it mildly, Asako wasn't a fan of crowds. At the time, she was living in a forester's hut inside a national forest in Yamanashi Prefecture. Sorry.
さて、連れ帰ったはいいものの、どうしたものか。何も考えてなかったのね。やっぱり。あ？つかなんでお前までついてきてんだよ。自分のマンションに帰れよ。あなたとこの子を二人きりにしておくのが心配だからでしょうが。
JB doesn't have very much faith in Asako to raise Yuuji, and can't say that I blame her.
ふざけろ。ガキじゃあるめえし。こんな子供に襲われるほど弱かねえっつの。あんたのこと心配してるんじゃないわよ。ねえ、そこは理解して。よし、まずは風呂だな。人の話全然聞いてないし。っていうかなんでお風呂？
Well, why not a bath? Gotta take a bath sometime.
いや、こいつろくに風呂も入ってねえんだろ。野良犬みてえな匂いすんだよ。嗅いでみ？どれ？うわ、ほんと、なんか臭い。つうわけで風呂だ。私がこいつ洗ってる間に、お前ちょっとこいつの服買ってきてくれ。え？ちょっと、まさか一緒に入るつもり？こんな状態で一人で入れるわけねえだろ？何か問題が？それは、なんていうか、変な気は起こさないでよ。はあ？何言ってんだお前。いいから行ってこいよ。金は私の財布持っていけ。うん。よーし、ユージ風呂入るぞ。ほら、万歳しろ。万歳。
Give me a banzai! Banzai!
なんだお前。ガリガリでカリンコリンの体しやがって。飯食わねえからだ。あ、おい JB、 ついでに飯も買ってきてくれよ。コンビニ飯でいいから。おい、聞いてんのか？
JB is speechless.
じゃねえよ。飯も買ってきてくれって言ってんだろ。飯ね。コンビニでいい。だからそう言っただろうが。ガキの裸に見とれてボケっとしてんなよ。別にそういうわけじゃ。いいから行ってこいって。飯は3人分酒は2人分だ。私は飲まないわよ。今日車だし。
I think she knows that.
私が2人分飲むんだよ。あ、そう。こいつの服買ってくんの忘れんなよ。わかってるわよ。
Can't have Yuuji roaming around the place naked. That would not be ideal. Honestly, it wasn't as if I'd been staring at the boy's slender body itself. I'd just been startled by the fact that it was absolutely covered in scars. His skin was oddly mottled in many places, probably the remnants of deep bruises made when he was younger. And a number of jagged red lines testified to wounds that had been roughly stitched shut. It was a painfully pitiful sight. Not to mention when Asako forcibly pulled off his clothes, he hadn't resisted in the slightest. That blank look on his face was probably a self-defense mechanism. When you don't allow yourself to feel any emotions, nothing can really hurt you. It was the kind of coping method you might have expected from a traumatized veteran of countless wars. In that respect, maybe someone like Asako really was the only one capable of understanding this boy. You know, sometimes the human body can
遅
have
かった
the
じゃないか。
most
どこまで
expressive
買いに行ってたん
canvas.
だお前。
Whoa, hello, naked. Okay.
ああ、買い物袋を落とすなよ。ビールが泡立っちまうじゃねえか。
When I returned from my shopping trip, I found Asako behaving in a typically disgraceful fashion, and Kazami Yuuji completely transformed.
ねえ、朝子。まず質問なんだけど、あなた、なんて格好してるのよ。あ？風呂に入ったんだから、裸なのは当たり前だろうが。いや、さ、子供いるし、男の子だし、隠そうよ、人として、いえ、女として。今更だろ？というか、私と話している時は、私の方を見ろよ。何？この子。何って、風見雄二だろうが。着るもんがなかったから、とりあえず私のシャツを着せてみた。
The boy was naked except for a single oversized t-shirt that felt almost to his knees. Through the gaping neck hole of that ragged old shirt, his slender shoulders and well-defined collarbones were clearly visible. And his eyes, peering out from between excessively long bangs, seemed listless and sleepy. It was all disturbingly sensual.
美少年だったのね。
Alright, GB. Come on. Come on now.
なんだって？
Don't fall in love with Yuuji, please. Everyone else has. Don't succumb to his charming ways.
いや、なんか汚い子だったのに、随分と綺麗になったなと思って。だろ？いや、参ったぜ。シャンプーを頭にぶっかけて洗っても、どんどん泡が消えてくしよ。体を洗ってやりゃ、日焼けの皮みてえに赤がボロボロ剥がれ落ちるし、お前どんだけ汚ねえんだよってマジでビビったぜ。とりあえず野良犬みたいな匂いが消えるまで3回ぐらい洗ったかな。最後は頭にきてデッキブラシで洗った。ひどいことするわね。痛くなかったの？痛みには慣れてるってよ。え？そいつ声が小せんだ。耳近づけてよく聞いてみ。ユージ、もう一度だ。
I'm used to pain.
喋った！
His voice was so faint that I could barely make it out at all. It almost seemed like he was afraid of something. My ear was inches from his mouth and the words were still almost inaudible. But even so, this wasn't the first time I heard Kazami Yuuji say anything other than yes, no, I don't know, or I don't remember.
そりゃ喋るさ。そんなことより飯にしよう。腹が減った。
The two of us quickly got dinner ready. Of course, Asako had been living alone for a long time now, and she wasn't particularly interested in what she ate. As far as I knew, she almost never cooked for herself. Just from looking around the cabin, it was clear that it hadn't changed. Plastic garbage bags were scattered everywhere, packed with the empty shells of convenience store meals. For the time being, I put one of the pre-made meals I'd purchased on a plate and placed it in front of Kazami Yuuji, but he didn't react to the food.
どうした？気に入らないのか？
You have to eat. Asako spoke to the boy between huge bites of her own meal, and there was no immediate response. Just then, a single fly appeared and began buzzing around the three of us, evidently attracted by the smell of our food.
もう食事の食べかすを放置するからハエが来るのよ。たまには部屋を掃除しなさいよ。もう。
Yeah, I mean, the cabin, at least from the outside, looked really, really nice. Very quaint, you know?
うるせえな。山ん中の小屋なんだから虫ぐらいいくらだっているさ。ハエの一匹ぐらい気にすんなよ。
Having completed a lap around our heads, the fly landed on top of the table. Kazami Yuuji glanced down at the insect, his eyes as listless as ever, then lashed out with his hand, smashing it.
Oh?
Asako raised her eyebrows at the boy's unexpectedly impressive reflexes, but a moment later, we had something else to be surprised about. His hand still frozen on top of the fly, Kazami Yuuji had begun to tremble like a leaf in the wind. Turning over his palm, he looked down at the still twitching remains of the insect and began to scream hysterically. Ah! Crushing the fly had most likely triggered a flashback of some sort, perhaps to the moment when he killed someone. Pressing his hands to his mouth, the boy began to retch loudly. I have the best sound effects, don't I?
余計なもん思い出したみてえだな。
As his all but empty stomach twisted itself violently, Kazami Yuuji repeatedly spat gastric juice out of his mouth. The burning pain in his throat left him hacking and wheezing, tears streaming down his cheeks. He whispered a litany of apologies. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
ただでさえ汚え部屋にヘドを撒き散らすんじゃねえよ。たく。Asako! わかってるよ。おいユージ、お前ちょっとこっち来い。どこへ連れて行く気？トイレだよ。このままここでゲーゲー続けられたら叶わないからな。大丈夫なの？いいから任せておけ。お前はそこ片付けておいてくれ。わかった。
Kazami Yuji's reaction to his murder of a living thing was disproportionately extreme. It took quite a while for Asako to calm the boy down after that incident. Eventually, she did manage to push him onto the bed and put him to sleep.
なんとも面倒なやつを引き取っちまったもんだな。
Got that right.
面倒なのは最初から分かっていたはずでしょ。今さら何を言ってるのよ。
By the time we got Kazami Yuji in bed and cleaned up the mess, Asako and I weren't exactly in the mood to finish our meals. Instead, we started in on the beer I'd brought back with me. Hey, you driving?
ああ、飲んじまったよ。お前今日は車だろ？もういいわ。今日はここに泊まる。
I like how she just decides that I'll just stay here.
ベッドは一つしかねえぞ。いい。私はソファーで寝るから。ユージを真ん中に挟んで3人で寝るか？ダブルサイズだから寝れないことはない。そんなことよりどうするの？どうすると？
About Yuji.
風見ユージのことよ。あの子、私たちが思っているよりずっと重症よ。そんなこと知ってるよ。あなたがあの子の何を知ってるっていうのよ。あいつの体見たか？
Can anyone ever really understand another human being? I don't think so.
ああ、そういうこと？風呂場であいつを洗いながら気づいただけでも銃創が2箇所、刃物で刺されてえぐられたような箇所が1つ、骨折の治療をしたと思われる縫合痕が2箇所、細かい傷跡やあざを数えたらキリがない。ありゃ単純に親に殴られてできた傷じゃないな。オスロに拾われた後にできた傷だろ。それと先端恐怖症だ。指刺されただけで顔を背ける。オスロのところでヤバい仕事をやるたびにうちの会社でいうところのブースター的なドーピングを受けたんだろうな。瞳孔が開いちまって戻らないから強い光や尖ったものに過剰反応する。オスロのネストであいつが薄暗い地下室に閉じ込められてたのは眩しいのを嫌がるからだ。体を拘束されていたのは？神経が逆立ってる時はいいさ。何も怖くないし何でもやれる気がする。だが止めどなく流れ込んでくる情報に精神が耐えきれなくなって恐怖が一気に襲ってくる。
Asako sounds like she has a lot of knowledge on the subject.
殺意を持った敵が傍らにいるかのような幻覚にとらわれて暴れ始める。食事に拒否反応を示すのもそれが原因？
Probably.
それはおそらくは過去の経験の影響だろうな。豪華なステーキを見ても生き物の死骸を焼いたものにしか見えないんじゃねえか。でもこのまま放っておけば衰弱死するだけよ。分かってるよ。様子を見ながら少しずつ物を食うってことに慣れさせるしかない。心も体もボロボロね。
Damaged goods, but you know, that's Yuuji in a nutshell, right?
いっそ殺してやった方があいつにとっては楽なんだけどな。
I don't know about that. I think everyone deserves a second chance.
だがたとえあいつがそれを望んでも私がそれを許さない。私が子供にとっては親が神よ。それあなたちゃんと分かって言ってるの？分かってるよ。皆まで言わせるなよ、恥ずかしい。
After that tumultuous first day, I made an effort to stop by Asako's cabin and check in on Kazami Yuji's condition whenever I had a spare moment.
食え！吐いてでも食え！今日は食うまで許さねえぞ！食いやがれ！
Please, just stop already.
食わなきゃ死んじまうんだぞ！
It's fine by me.
てめえ、甘ったれたこと抜かしてんじゃねえ！ぶっ殺すぞ！食わなきゃ死ぬとか言っておいて、食わなきゃ殺すってどういうことよ。ん？なんだ JB、 来てたんなら声ぐらいかけろよ。いつ来やがったんだ？
Long enough, apparently.
つい今しがたよ。それより朝子、いい加減にしなさいよ。あなたの怒鳴りだからなんだ。こんな山小屋で近所迷惑もクソもあるか。いいから食えよユージ。食わなきゃもう一緒に風呂入ってやんねえぞ。
Help me, JB.
てめえこらユージ、男に免疫のねえもっさり金髪女に甘えた声出して助けてもらおうとしてんじゃねえぞ。
Please help me.
あのさ、朝子、ユージを罵倒するふりをして私をけなすのをやめてもらっていいかな。それにユージ、あなたもよ。あなたのことを思えばこそ朝子はあなたに辛く当たっているの。それは分かってほしい。
In response to these words, Kazami Yuuji let out a small sigh and shook his head. You don't understand a thing, JB.
そりゃあなたの負った過去の傷はあなたにしか理解できないかもしれない。でも私たちだって私たちなりに必死にあなたを理解しようとしているのよ。
In that case, how about you try some of this first as an example?
どれ？これ？何これ？見ればわかるだろうが。私が作った特製のおじやだ。
Rice gruel? That sounds lovely.
おい、何これ？おじやって何よ？どこの国の民族料理なの？
Yeah, it's ethnic food, alright.
日本の家庭料理だ。消化が良くてすぐにエネルギーに変わるジャパニーズパワーフードだよ。
The term power food I just immediately get images of stuff that is horrible for you to taste, but is actually probably really good for you. But you would never want to eat it willingly.
なんか漢方薬みたいな匂いがするのはなぜ？
Oh, add some cilantro, for taste.
そりゃあれだ。体に良さそうなもんを適当にぶち込んだからだ。確かに匂いはあれかもしれないが栄養はバッチリだ。
A healthy boner of lubricated lady parts? What does that even mean? You know what? I don't want to know.
この鍋のど真ん中にポテッと乗っているモザイクの入りそうな物体は何？
Secret ingredient.
あ？ ああ、そりゃおめえオスの鹿の何だ。
Wow.
高んだぞそれ。
Didn't come cheap. Alright. I don't know what the market is on those, but I assume she's probably telling the truth.
うわ、てめえなんで捨てんだよ。せっかくの私の手料理を。ふざけんな。ユージごめんなさい。私が間違ってた。こんなもの絶対に食べちゃダメよ。これは毒よ。食べたら死んじゃうんだから。ちっけえだなお前。別に食えないもんは一つも入れてねえぞ。
You know, when they called it Japanese power food, I was just on board, but when they added the deer genitalia, then, that really pushed me over the edge of I must try this.
そういう問題じゃないでしょ。というかそれ以前の問題よ。ああ、しまった。忘れてた。あなたってばびっくりするぐらい料理が下手だったのよね。それはあなたにも自覚はあるだろうし、食事は民生の加工食品で済ませるとばかり思って油断していたわ。ひどい言われようだな。そこまで言うほどまずくはなかろうに。だったらあなたが食べなさいな。ほら。くす、そんなもん顔に近づけんなよ。うわ、自分が食べられないものを子供に食べさせようとするな。平気だ。カレー粉さえあれば大抵のものは食える。
It's magic curry powder, not magic pixie dust.
じゃあ食え。鹿の食いなさいよ。ほら。
Oh God.
いや、
Nah.
私は
I'm
元気
good.
だから
I don't need it.
食わなくていいんだよ。こんなものを食べさせられたら逆に具合が悪くなるわよ。
In the end, I took over for Asako and prepared an alternative meal. The menu wasn't anything special, I just whipped together a simple rice-based porridge, sans deer genitalia. Since Yuuji had been refusing solid food for quite some time, I was careful to keep it very thin, practically rice water, in fact.
ほら、ユージ、暑くないからあーんってしてごらんなさい。
What kind of JB adopted us?
甘やかすな。かゆぐらい自分で食わせろ。うるさいわね。あなたは鹿の食べてなさいよ。高級食材なんでしょ。あーくせ。ミラクルパウダーのカレー粉にも限界はあったか。ちくしょう。
Little by little, we began to get Yuuji eating again, which is good. He needs to eat, needs to build his strength up. Sometimes it did spoil him a bit, not gonna lie. Sometimes Asako forcibly shoved the food into his mouth. At first the boy was moaning miserably with every bite, but eventually he was managing to consume fairly normal meals again. It wasn't too long before he started eating on his own, even without Asako prying his mouth open. That said, he was always completely expressionless at the dinner table. He pushed the food into his mouth silently with a mechanical steadiness. It seemed like he was eating out of a sense of obligation, or because we told him to do so. I never saw the slightest sign he was actually enjoying his meal.
なあ、ユージ。それは飯を食う時の顔じゃないな。まだ味がわからないのか？
Whenever Asako expressed any concern, Kazami Yuuji would always respond in the same way. Don't pay so much attention to me. Women who get close to me always end up dead. Of course, this was sheer nonsense, but the boy sounded quite sure of himself. That only irritated Asako, who'd usually reply with an exasperated, "Don't be such a goddamn baby."
そりゃ違うな。お前に関わったから死んだんじゃない。お前が何もしなかったから死んだんだ。お前ももう鼻水垂らしてピーピー泣いてりゃ何でも許されるガキじゃねえんだ。与えられた恩は実力で返せ。お前は花からそれができないと決めつけてるし、やり方を知らねえから不幸が起きる。
I don't understand, Asako. Yuuji was talking a good deal more now, but he remained fundamentally indifferent to everything, never showing any real interest in the world around him. He wasn't impressed by anything you gave him. Even slugging him wouldn't give you a reaction. Well then, what exactly would inspire interest from a boy of his age? a woman's body, perhaps? By some unfathomable feat of mental gymnastics, Asako eventually reached this very conclusion and revealed herself to Kazami Yuuji completely in the nude, only to be met with his usual blank expression.
Oi, Yuuji. 目の前に裸の女がいるんだ。何か言うことはないのか?
I don't know if this therapy is supposed to help Yuuji, but whatever, right? No wonder he's so messed up. He'll catch a cold.
くそ。これだからガキは。私は少し傷ついたぞ。
Well, what do you want? You want him to jump on you and ravage your body? I mean, is that the kind of answer you want? I mean, are you just trying to get a rise out of him? I mean, like, I don't understand what the point of this is. He's just trying to get a reaction, if anything, but I don't know. It seems like they really should have thought this one out. They shouldn't have gotten this far. Asako was quite proud of her voluptuous body's sex appeal, so she apparently found this particular setback a rather frustrating one. In any case, where do we go from here? After thinking it over for a while, Asako decided to consider alternative approaches. Yeah, now we're thinking of alternative approaches. Kazami Yuuji had exhibited an extreme response to the death of a living thing. In that case, maybe having him deliberately kill something would work as a kind of shock therapy? Then again, an approach like that might end up exacerbating the boy's trauma just as he was finally starting to recover. Oh, it's a tricky web we weave, isn't it?
ねえ、朝子。あなたそうやって真剣に考えているふりしながら、実は頭の中真っ白でしょ。おい、JB。生き物ってなんだ?
That's a pretty hot button debate there.
そうね。それは難しい質問ね。まずは、ほら、あなたの部屋の本棚の一番上の段。右から3番目の破壊背拍子の分厚い本があるでしょ? それが辞書。使い方は知っている? お前に聞いた私がバカだった。
Kazami Yuuji was frightened by living things. Was he afraid of life itself? What does it really mean to be alive anyway? What is it that drives us to go on living? What's the purpose of our lives? Having boastfully declared herself the boy's god, promising to decide his reason for existing, Asako couldn't exactly shrug her shoulders and say, "Sorry, I don't know." But however she agonized over these questions, no answers were emerging. Before long, she was scratching irritably at her head, letting out odd little moans of frustration. Alright, looks like we're going to the zoo, guys. And with that, I'm going to end the video off here, and we will get to see the zoo and all the lovely animals in the next episode of the Labyrinth of Grisaia. Take it easy.